Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Purple Political Breakdown. How you doing? How's your day been? And we are back at it with the motto: political solutions without political bias. That's what we do here on my channel and on my podcast. And we got a reaction video. It's been a while since I created some Jubilee content, and it's been a while that I've used my face cam. A little bit of a new setup, if you can't tell already. But yeah, this one should be an interesting video. Would America be better under capitalism or communism? I'm going to give my personal thoughts in regards to the matter. And one thing that I will say is that these conversations are always interesting. These conversations are important to evolve the country. But we also need to recognize that there needs to be some type of realism when you apply your specific rhetoric on how well it will actually realistically work on a society that we know currently exists, right? Not this idealistic world that never will take place. Right, so we will see, of course. And I also plan to publish every day for 2024. That is the goal. We are publishing every day, talking about important information in addition to publishing our podcast episodes. So the grind starts. Is going to be an important year for the Purple Political Breakdown. So please support. Let's lock in.
Coming in and enshrining enslavement. And in fact, capitalism is what got rid of it and started pushing back against this centuries-old awful institution. So to say it's capitalism, I think is honestly offensive.
We are approaching the 150th episode of Middle Ground, and we need your help to continue making more episodes. Join our Middle Ground page.
I might skip a little bit.
America would be a more powerful country under communism.
Let me say this. I think Jubilee... sometimes it's kind of unfair because like the answer to, like, how do I say this without being offensive? There's a difference between these three and these three. I'm gonna put it like that. You can kind of take it as you will. You know what I'm saying? Middle ground community. America would be a more powerful country under communism. 11% said yes. Crazy.
Maybe agree or step forward.
But 90% is a good number. I think most people understand.
All the people who are working jobs that are not, I guess, tech, basically. So I make content, which means that I work a lot of hours and I don't get paid the same amount as a soft
Her
dev.
name
so
is
I think it would create more creativity.
Her name is Bunny. What kind of content do you think Bunny makes? I'm just asking.
In certain like creative industries, artists, if you make a bigger pie, everyone gets a bigger slice.
Yeah.
Respect the swag
I
over
think
here.
one of the main
Is that a Demon
misconceptions
Slayer
about
earring?
communism is that it's just making everybody equally poor. When Marx and Engels wrote repeatedly that the first step under communism is increasing the productive forces. In the US, over 80% of our population is living paycheck to paycheck. If you provide people's basic needs, if you invest in economic growth and in jobs and in infrastructure rather than investing in endless war and massacring Muslim people in Gaza, you're going to make this country a lot stronger. You're going to make the people a lot more stable here.
I grew up in the right-wing area. I grew up in Denver,
that
Colorado.
sounds good.
Born in Dallas, Texas. I'm the first American in my family. Everybody's from...
Damn, my thing is a little slow right now. That sounds good. Will I react to it? Let me see. Because my computer is a step slow at the moment. Let me exit out this real quick. So we got giving people government aid makes them lazy. Oh, these are really good. Women are more empowered in a communist society. Women are only the rich benefit from capitalism. There's no perfect economic model. These are all really good conversational pieces. The purpose of an economy should be to maximize the well-being of the population. Interesting.
the Congo. If my family was able to come here, of course,
I'm gonna have to speed this up because there's no way I'm sitting here for 47 minutes. I'll be honest.
Is under capitalism, individualism, freedom. All these things are under capitalism. But I'm black in America, so those contradictions really just create that friction where I'm like,
that
this
doesn't mean
align
anything
with what I was told, and what I'm actually seeing or actually feeling. So why did I come to communism? When I actually read it, when I went from Marx to Lenin to Mao to Deng to Fred Hampton, I started realizing like, oh, this is patriotism. This is the idea that I look at another American and think to myself, I want you to be fed. I want you to fulfill in your life. I want you to feel like you actually have control within your society. Honestly, as somebody again who grew up in that right-wing area, that flies over everybody's head.
Disagreeers are walking quick on this one. Can I say something first on this one to be so bold? Here's my argument. How come every communistic country has to build a wall or a fence to keep people in? China didn't let people out. My grandma, I remember going, my grandma.
Bro, my computer's acting really slow. I can't react to properly if it's acting really slow. Come on now. Let's lock in.
Yeah, but where did you come? But where did you come? There's not a mass immigration into Venezuela, into China, into Russia. Where do people want to go? Switzerland, America, Sweden. They're all talking about we need to build a wall because people are coming. China's not going, well, we better build a wall because all those Americans are coming across. Nobody's going there.
So you legally cannot become Chinese. I went to international school growing up, and every single non-Asian or anyone else that's like American or Canadian that's gone to China has never wanted to come back to the US. That's something that's really interesting. So I think it's like if you've never been.
That's an adverse selection, a group of people who are
Let her
already.
finish your point.
Yeah.
And then
Like,
People who went to China never wanted. I really want to hear that percentage. I don't think it's large at all. I'll be honest. From my point of view, I don't think the percentage of the people she knows that wanted to stay in China is large at all. And I think another aspect to it that probably exists in that situation is they're probably more well off than we're expecting, like in terms of financial ability. So I'm very suspect from her, what is it called? Not hypothetical, anecdote.
we got you.
I guess like whoever has the open mind to go visit usually doesn't want to come back. And I do live streaming, so I know a lot of live streamers who like permanently move over to the like Asia, especially
looks
China, because
familiar.
not just it's cheaper, it's also just higher benefits. Most people get like free healthcare, so it's a lot easier for you to survive there. I think it's not because people don't want to go; it's also because you're taught propaganda since a young age. China's scary, China's bad, evil, red dragon. So people don't go and don't even go see it. That's the problem.
I would definitely argue that a lot of China's success is due to the introduction of free markets. But if we want to run with this idea.
China's bad. So is she trying to argue that China's good? Because China's doing a lot of horrible stuff right now. Like I think I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm just gonna focus on what they're saying.
Untrue. I could also just point to the fact that they're super low in the HDI. Their GDP per capita is like $12,000. The US GDP per capita is $70,000. So like I would say in terms of like economic success, we're definitely doing way better.
Ty, in terms of how we see immigration into this country, of course, we're American. We're only going to see the American viewpoint of this. China has immigration. People do try to cross the China's border all the time. We're all humans. Everybody's doing the same thing around the world. I would say what you're saying is
There's levels to it, though.
I would love to break it down even more and talk to you about the massive amounts of CIA missions that have gone through Latin America to destabilize those countries. But just at that point, to what you're saying, judging a country by how much the wealthiest people in their country profit in their company, we both know what GDP means. It's a bad faith way to really explain
what
your
about
country.
HDI? Human Development Index.
And how's
so
that
it's
made?
measured by things like health, income. It's the UN standard for like how well an economy is.
My thing is being so slow. I'm trying to pause it at certain endpoints. The first point this guy made in terms of, see, this is a very dangerous route, and I understand. Like I probably don't mind what the guy's trying to do. He's trying to be nuanced when that nuance doesn't prove what he's saying, right? He's saying we all understand countries have immigration. Yes. We understand there's levels to immigration and there's levels to the people that the countries are allowing to come in. So let's not pretend that American immigration is anywhere close to Chinese immigration. China is much more not willing to let immigrants in compared to America, and especially the types of immigrants that come in. So that's such a disingenuous thing to say. Like, nuance is important. The gray is, yes, it's not a black thing where it's like, not a black, I mean like black and white, but it's not a pitch black thing in terms of China's never going to allow immigration and every part of China is bad. But we need to understand the type of government China runs and the things that China does in current society. And then he brought up the conspiracy theories with U.S. and CIA and making these Latino companies worse than they are. So he wants to be nuanced in terms of immigration, but he thinks that the American is just purely we're doing these very, very, very negative things and corrupting these countries. There's nuance in that as well, to be fair. But I've said this continuously that there are things that America has done that are inherently negative and inherently bad. That's unless like every country has done terrible, terrible things, including America. To become as powerful and as successful as America has become, it's going to require a lot of terrible things happening in our past. That's just the truth of the nature of it, right? It's not all peace and prosperity. Let's be honest. So, there's a lot of things to this. There's no way I'm gonna get
so
through all
from
of it.
that point, perfect. Healthcare, we rank 37 in the United States. Cuba ranks 2-1.
Oh God.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you,
Hold on.
wait.
Hold on, we
Cuba
gotta
ranks
take a step
what?
back.
Cuba ranks what? Wait, I really want to engage
They've been
with
number
this.
1 and number 2 and hovered through those spots.
According to Cuba.
Cuba uses
No,
their
according to the
doctors.
Commonwealth
UN.
Fund. According to the Commonwealth Fund, and
Wait. Cuba is 83 on the HDI. They use their doctors like slaves because 90% of the profit goes to the state.
They literally traffic their doctors. When
doctors
George
get
W. Bush
very little.
opened up a program to let Cuban doctors escape.
Is he trying to advocate for Cuba? See, this is the problem what you're trying to do. You're so black-pilled on what America is. My honest question is, do you think you can live an honest life if you go to Cuba? Like, honestly. And potentially you can, but I forgot his name. Let's say you go to Cuba. Do you think you can have the same type of right, say the same kind of stuff, exercise your beliefs the exact same in Cuba that you can in America? America will never stop you in living the way you live. You think you can do the same thing in Cuba? Do you think the people on the poor end in Cuba is living nearly as bad or nearly as good as people in America in terms of our poor? Like, you're just trying to be right in the argument. But I don't think you believe Cuba is a good place to live, or I hope you don't. So I don't know why you would bring that up.
Because they were trafficking them and making them go do these PR campaigns in other countries, give healthcare. 7,000 people immediately came to the U.S. At one meeting, 2 doctors passed notes to other doctors they were on a hospital set with and said, kidnapped. This is propaganda.
So I appreciate the emotional examples, 100%.
It's not emotional. You can talk to the No Border Sovereignty organization that works to get healthcare professionals out of
the
there.
nicest person in this room. I would
Well,
hope you let
I'm
me
trying to
finish
get
my
this point
point.
across, too.
Okay,
Please
bro,
go.
it's chill. This guy is very condescending, I'll be honest. Chill. It's a back and forth conversation. You interrupted people too.
I've been told that fear is happening in Cuba. They're doing this super scary thing with Cuba, which is great. I would love facts. So
I'm giving you
in
facts
terms of
about
the
doctors fleeing the country, and also about how they're having to
How's this
ration
how's that supposed
basic
to make-
antibiotics in their
Hannah, you look like
hospitals.
the
Yeah, we've got them
person
under
in
an
this room.
embargo.
Not
obviously.
since, no,
Wait,
medical
this
things are
has
excluded since
nothing to do-
That's
1992.
not true.
Wait,
That's
wait,
been
that is
disproven
true.
by multiple
Eddie, how far
studies.
back-
This year
It
during
hasn't.
COVID, Cuba made their own COVID vaccine because the U.S. pharmaceutical company used intellectual property laws to prevent them from using our vaccine recipe. So they created their own, but they couldn't get syringes into the country because of the embargo. Because
Eddie.
how are you supposed to get metal when you're on a
They
tiny
couldn't get
island country
syringes
and you're
in the country
surrounded by the
because
U.S.
they're
military?
mismanaged.
Eddie, I
And
want
you
to ask
can't
you a
get
few
any
questions.
trade in
I
or
want to
out.
ask you a few questions, Eddie.
Go ask
How
me a
far
question.
back do you think the embargo was affecting Cuba?
How long back do I think the embargo?
Like,
Probably
when
since
did-
it's been put on.
Oh, really?
But I
So
think when we
so
look
wait,
at
no, let me respond real quick. In 1960, the USSR became the largest trading partner with Cuba. They started paying more
all
for
of Cuba's
Cuba's
sugar, yeah.
They started buying all of Cuba's
And
sugars
tobacco,
and paying more than the United States was paying. Fidel Castro is on record saying that the embargo had no effect on Cuba at all. So we can presume that up until 1991, when the USSR collapsed, that it didn't have an effect. So to claim that the embargo is affecting Cuba,
on
and
what?
I,
Effect on what?
and I think when we look at
You
this
said
is the
1991 did
can I
not
make a
affect
point
the
because this is
stock.
the point I
Yeah,
wanted to
because
make
the
for a long
USSR
time.
collapsed.
When we look at countries like Cuba and China, I think it's more important to judge them based on what they had before the revolution. Before Cuba had a revolution, nobody had access to healthcare. They were working on slave plantations that were
Cuba-
dominated by Western multinational corporations. China before the revolution, yes, there were famines during the era of Mao. There were far more famines before Mao came to power and before China was able to industrialize and get to
That's
the
a
point
great
today where they're now one of the most powerful countries on earth. In the 1950s, the U.S. was already industrialized.
What is he trying to prove? I'm very curious what he's trying to
Industrialized.
prove
China
here.
had to do that. They were a semi-feudal country in extreme poverty. And in just 70 plus years, they've become this economic superpower. That is through central economic planning and, yes, allowing some of those private markets in.
That's by undercutting the U.S. on labor because they don't actually have to pay people very much. They don't have to pay them based on their values, so they can make people come over there and work far cheaper, have their companies there, and then we buy their products cheaper. We are propping up China's economy, and we've been really stupid with our own policies when it comes to that. And also, we are constantly hamstringing ourselves because our government keeps regulating our economy more, getting more involved, tying its hands, so that they are outpacing us. Plus, all the money we're spending on war instead of actually like letting people keep their taxes and invest in more things. So they are playing us right now. The U.S. has been really foolish, but it's not because communism works. They were starving up until 1939.
Well, let's look at exactly what they did. Let's look at
them.
exactly what they did when they opened up trade. They opened up.
Okay. I don't think he could deny anything that she just said. I'll be honest. And I'm going to be completely blunt with you. I am pro-capitalism 100%. Communism has never proven to be successful at any point. And the reason why we want something like capitalism, the biggest thing that a lot of us people that are from America appreciate is keeping the powers to be at check if we have the opportunity. Now, the powers to be, the elite, still have a lot of power. So they still can find ways to manipulate certain avenues. But with the introduction, and I'm going to make a podcast episode about it. But with the introduction and the growth of certain elements of our free market society, with more individualized content creators and the ability to become more the entrepreneurial aspect, which I'm surprised a content creator will be very much pro communism. I wonder, like, in a the idealistic version of communism, sure, but I wonder if she would be okay if her funds were taken away from that she's earning on her own and reallocated to the people based off the model that is communism. I'm very curious about that, but there are certain things that is going on with the use of technology and the ability to become content creators and the new kind of reforms that we're trying to implement to focus on different aspects of more individualized focused movements instead of letting the elites kind of control a lot of the avenues here that a capitalist society provides that a communist society would never provide. But let me hear what this guy has to say.
Special economic zones where multinational corporations could come in, but they said you're only allowed to do things as long as it's in line with the party and as long as it's in line with the government's central plans. I mean, to say that China's just capitalist, full stop, or that all their
I'm not
successes
saying
come
that
from
they're capitalists. I'm
capitalism
saying that they were
is pretty
starving
ridiculous.
before capitalism started
They
getting
were
its foot in
starving
the
under
door.
feudalism.
Hannah and Cam coming here with the guns. They got the fire. They know they're ready for this. Who is we? When you say we, who's in this we? Because we did this, because we did that. Who is this
So again,
metaphorical we?
because the U.S. government is not a capitalist government, and we have to be strict about terms here, capitalism is a system and an economy. The government can either uphold capitalism or they can impede it. Our government is constantly impeding it. So when the government comes in and tells you, you can trade with this person, you can't trade with that person, that is the government, which is we, because we have a representative government doing that. Is that something I, as a capitalist, want to see them
An
doing?
American citizen.
No,
We
I
are
don't.
American
But we are
citizens,
American
is what you're
citizens,
saying.
and so they are supposed to be representing our interests. If we're going to talk about what we're doing as a country, yes, like that is a huge part of it. And I also want to go back to communism because when you talk about some of these countries that people often call democratic socialist countries, they rank higher on the economic freedom index than we do. That means they are more capitalist in their economies
And I don't think those
than
countries
we
are
are.
socialist, to be
and
clear.
so I just want to make sure we're defining terms because communism is the
Well,
centralized.
she said they're more capitalist, which she's making a lot of good points, and I'm respecting it. I'll be honest, I'm probably gonna end this video soon because there's no way I'm reacting to a 40-minute video. There's another video I plan to react to. I probably ain't gonna react to the entire thing, but this one I'm not going to. I was just curious on some of the thoughts. If you want me to react to the full thing, let me know. But after this first segment,
control and ownership of production
I'm
of
sorry,
companies.
Hannah.
But this is my
Maybe-
point I'm trying to make.
I
Like we
feel
have to
I-
talk about actual
It just
systems
feels
that are
antithetical
communist if
for
we're going
the
to debate
capitalist
this.
side to define socialism to me. It feels just very demeaning.
Wait, are we
Come
doing
on.
communism?
How do you define it then? Because I'm hearing things called socialism that aren't.
But the prompt is communism.
I guess like in terms of communism and capitalism, both are ideal states that don't fully work by themselves. But I do think capitalism is more pessimistic versus communism more optimistic. In an ideal state, if everyone actually worked hard and they wanted to contribute to a society to make it better, I think communism would work.
Everybody cares. I think you guys are
my
well.
God. She's so. This is unfair. She's too cute. Like that's unfair. That's you can't do that. That's a. She's dangerous. She's dangerous right here. I mean, I feel what she's saying. In the ideal world, the ideal world of communism is a government that will take care of its people, but the government is people, and you're trusting people to take care of other people without adhering to their own personal greed. And that's the danger. That's all I'm gonna get for this video. Again, if you want me to react to the full thing, I'm gonna give you a goal that you probably won't reach, so I don't have to react to the full thing, but I will if you do. So if this video gets, let's say 50 likes, I'll react to the entire thing. But yeah, appreciate you. You'll have a good one. Like and subscribe. Check out the podcast where the motto is political solutions without political bias. We're on our road to publishing every single day, a way of increasing the conversation and the nuance. And if I'm wrong, let me know. I'm gonna try to have the opportunity to, since I'm creating so much content, that if people disagree with me, I'm willing to have the conversation. I have a lot of interests. Politics is one of them. These type of conversations are one of them. But I'm not going to pretend that I know everything. I can understand very, very, very quickly. I don't know everything because I dabble in a lot of different areas. So my information is very varied. Let's say that. If I made a lot of money in this, like Destiny, I probably would be an expert by now. But let me know what you guys think. You have a good one. Take care and peace.